Hey you, so on this video, is gold better than silver? I'm going to be pushing that question out there and give my thoughts and opinions on whether I believe gold is better than silver, and obviously love to hear your thoughts and opinions out there. So if you haven't done so already, it'd be fantastic if you could go ahead and subscribe, and also let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments as to what I'm going to be bringing up, because I'm going to be answering, I'm going to really base it off of 4 or maybe 5 main issues or topics or subjects or things that I think can be put out there and give an answer to them on whether I see gold or silver taking the advantage to what I've been putting out. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on that also. So it's the big one, guys. Let me know what you think is better, gold or silver, or mainly is gold better than silver, where I answers to the questions that I'm going to be putting out there. So getting straight into this, I'm going to say, first off, when we're looking at gold and silver, you could easily put liquidity out there. So, you know, a lot of the times when we're talking liquidity, it could be in the same metal but a different variant, i.e. generic bars versus gov mintage, you know, what's more liquid. So it's going to be a big one. And even for those that are in regular contact with their dealers, it would be great if you could ask your dealer this question, you know, find out what answers they have to say, because you may get a new understanding or find something out that you never knew from a dealer's perspective. And that's going to be, what is more liquid, gold or silver? Now, I believe one is more liquid than the other. When we're talking liquidity, you can easily look at gold and say it has more of a global market than silver. Both, and I will stress this highly because I know sometimes people get carried away in the comments if I don't put in a sub clause like I have to do that every second. Both are liquid, let's not mistake that. But just like I just mentioned, generic or government, it may be more liquid over the other. I believe when we're talking gold and silver, one metal is more liquid than the other. And as I was just saying, I think gold has more of a global market. As I said in previous videos, there's places where, you know, silver isn't sold nearly nowhere as close on the scale as it is with gold. And so I think, yes, we all have our local dealers or our local spots, but if you wanted to have most options available to you, i.e. you never know what could happen in your local area. They may be closed down, or your state may no longer be able to trade. Anything is possible in the end of the day. So what has more of a global audience and, you know, market, I would say I would give that answer when I'm saying liquidity to gold. I think gold is more liquid than silver, mainly because of how it's interpreted. And I'll break that down more in later answers that I give to the questions that I put out there. So that would be the first one put out there. You know, what is more liquid, gold or silver? Both are liquid, but I believe gold edges forward a little bit more when it comes to liquidity, as it has more of a global market. You know, purely off of that basis, it's going to be accepted more. I believe dealers prefer it more, and you don't really get that subcategory that we get when we're talking, you know, government or generic silver or poured this or poured that. Gold seems to be its own category on its own. Gold is gold. You know, you never really hear people saying, or, you know, high premium, yes, but it's not as subcategorized when you get to silver, for instance, because of its price point. You know, you get a lot more play and people creating more art pieces and the likes of when we're talking silver. When you're talking gold, it's strictly business, you know, no party up front, business at back. It's business, business, business. Gold is gold. So I think just for that purpose and the way it's seen, I would easily say gold is more liquid than silver. But once again, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions of whether you agree, disagree, or have a totally different answer than mine. So next, I would say, is going to be affordability. You know, when we're looking at both and easily putting the question out there whether gold is better than silver, which one is more affordable? And, you know, in the past, we've mentioned that you can pick up an ounce of silver, time of releasing this video, give or take £18, let's just say, including delivery. And in the US, give or take right now, also $18. I know they're getting a bloody steal all the time. So let's just say an ounce is 18. And then, you know, it's not stopped somebody from also looking into smaller fractional gold. When that time comes along, you know, people have always mentioned that this can be very underwhelming. Well, you're looking at 1 gram here, and that doesn't even come down nowhere near to 18. At current spot price, I'd say 1 gram of gold right now, I'd say $45. I'm not sure at all, $45, or even let's just say $50 for sake and 43 pounds. you'd need to go smaller than what I'm showing here, and this is 1 gram. 1 gram is, I dare say, the dealer's limit when we're talking a bit too gimmicky. You know, you have much lower, of course, when we're talking gold, much more fractional. And this is all being said in that people normally state that they can pick up an ounce for £18, $18, where when you're talking gold, if you're going to be spending the equivalent when you're talking a whole ounce, it starts to become very underwhelming. Now, this is 1 gram. Lower, you know, a fraction of a gram. I think if I have one here, it's even smaller. But the point I'm getting at here is that it still costs a lot for a little, you know, and then you may not find trading something this small. This is a collector piece. It's really hard to find a fractional. They do come in the Valcombi fractional bars and the likes of, but when you're talking gold, to get down to the price of 1 ounce of silver, you've got to go down to 1/40th and likes of real low. And then I would say liquidity is an issue, and also the premiums paid when you're going this low could make it counterproductive. So when we're looking at both of them and asking is gold better than silver, I've already put out yes for liquidity. Once we're talking affordability, yes, you can technically get the equivalent. So there shouldn't really be an issue, but it's going to be mass and down to premiums are also going to play a role. So I would easily say when we're looking at it from an affordability perspective, silver takes the lead. You know, many have said, you know, gold is for kings and silver's for peasants, or however it goes, or gentlemen's and the likes of. But you know, everybody on a budget and anybody always do prefer silver. They get more bang for their buck, and many other reasons for the likes of. But you know, it's been the people's metal for some time. I would say the community's metal. You know, those that know different, those that prep and the likes of. It's definitely one of the metals put out there. A lot of people have mentioned, once we have this doomsday max scenario, is silver's going to save the day when you're bartering, you know, buying a piece of this off and buying loaves of bread and toilet roll with it. But easily, when you're looking at affordability, I would say silver holds the edge there. But is that a good or a bad thing? You know, that it's more affordable, once again, depending on who you're talking to. But right now, currently, when we're looking at affordability, I would say I would give that to silver easily. Next would be practicality. You know, how good is it at performing at certain occasions, or, you know, solutions or problems does it solve? Both, I would easily give that a tie-up currently, because depending on why you're getting into either, they both serve that purpose to a degree. You know, hedge against inflation, preserving your wealth and insurance, having your money or your savings outside of the system, both do that. You know, you can get $10,000 worth of gold and $10,000 worth of silver, and technically should both do the same thing. So in terms of practicality, preserving wealth and associating it with wealth, I would say they both do that decently, but I would then have to start edging it towards gold, because when you're looking at silver, easily now, depending on who you're talking to, silver's seen as an industrial metal. Silver's being decoupled mentally from being seen as, you know, money. Whereas when you look at gold, although it's used in industry to a degree, it's easily seen as a preservation of wealth. You know, it's up there easily with Bitcoin or gold. It's always going to be the top. It's always going to be the one compared against. That's the issue I'm now seeing when it comes to practicality, when you're using it in terms of protecting your wealth. Gold is seen as wealth. The bar, it's the top bar. Silver's now being pushed into that corner where it's been seen more as an industrial metal. It has all of the uses and many of the uses for an industrial metal that's ever expanding, as we all know. So when we're looking at it in terms of preserving our wealth, a hedge against inflation, and the likes of performing those in the occasions that when we're referring to, as I lose my tongue, in terms of practicality, I would put gold forward in terms of practicality, because gold is seen as money. It's always been seen as money. I believe it always will be seen as money and nothing but money. Whereas now silver, in the modern era and day we live in now is seen as an industrial metal. It's lost a lot of its shine in terms of viewing it as wealth. But anything's possible, it can change. But when we're looking at it from a practical point of view or practicality, once again, I would give it to gold. These are just different things that I don't believe have been put out there and that questions I'm giving answers to. So once again, let me know your thoughts and opinions on whether you believe it's practical and which one you believe is more practical, gold or silver, in terms of preserving your wealth and how well that does. So I'm going to put that one there. Next, I'm going to say growth and even true value, because they both tie in with one another, if you're asking me. Now, when you're talking about these here, you're going to hear someone say, look, I believe silver's grossly undervalued, and gold is grossly overpriced, and vice versa. Then you'll have somebody tell you the true value of silver should be this and the true value of gold should be that. So when I'm looking at both and saying I can see in terms of a potential to grow, it's all going to be a different answer here, because it's all on how everybody perceives it. You'll hear many say, looking back from days being, silver was this price and the charts state it's going to be that price and this is why I believe it's going to be this price. Then you'll look at those that say the gold to silver ratio states this, and then of course there's always going to be the paper manipulation that plays a role in silver's favor. It's manipulated, and once the manipulation ends, then we'll be able to see its true wealth and it will explode in the likes of. And all are valid to a degree, but I would say, looking at it for what it is in terms of growth, can silver really shoot to the prices that we've seen in the past? It is possible, but where would gold be then, you see? So in terms of growth, still both have a lot of room to grow, but I think right now silver's growth is being stunted, as we all know. Its growth being stunted through the manipulation. But will the manipulation ever end? Now, this here is on how tight your tinfoil hat is, on what you believe. The longer I've been here and I've seen that they can keep this manipulation going on forever. 1. 2, they plan decades in advance. Once again, saying how tight your tinfoil hat is. If you believe these Project Blue books and all these other things that are out there, each and every person believes in anything that they believe in, but ultimately it's what the so-called uber elite have planned. I highly doubt those that are in charge, and it's not your current world leaders, they're picked, are winging it as they go along. Let's just wing it as we go along. If a crash happens, let's just duck our heads in the sand and the like. So I think there's a pre-plan for everything, even when it comes to crashing, and a build-up and a phase that they have pre-planned in terms of keeping the manipulation going. I think the general mindset of people today is nowhere near a state where something can happen, i.e. another crash, and everybody bands together and, we remove those in power and then put ourselves on the right path. We're nowhere there. I think it's easily said as, done. We're not going to be in a situation like that anytime soon. I think they can easily keep a situation manipulated, and they will keep a situation manipulated, even if the paper manipulation ends and you believe it should explode. I've seen more people say that's not fair, it's illegal, I can't believe it. I.e., look at Stephen, the fiat currency situation, and even banks lending against money that they don't have. These things are illegal. You don't hear nobody barking. They're unconstitutional, apparently. Banks can do what nobody else can do, yet it's legal. They write their own laws. So in no time do I see the paper manipulation ending and then silver being able to shoot and explode into the atmosphere and whatever and go off from there. I think it's going to be controlled. I think it's going to be whatever they want to be. I think we could see a situation where it takes off some and easily pulled back. Ultimately, I've mentioned $100, £100 spot price, all-time high. That wasn't coming up soon. I said, what's it's going to be? It's all-time high. What do you see? The next price of silver's all-time massive high. I think they could keep at double digits for the longest time because of its use as an industrial metal, and they just don't want the metals exploding and going too high. Of course, the same rules apply to gold, but I think gold will always be ahead in terms of appreciation. So when we're talking true value and growth, I could easily say we are seeing the true value right now of both metals. And when we're talking growth, both have potential to grow, but I think gold will always be edging ahead forward. That's just my own personal thoughts and opinions, guys. So once again, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on the growth and the true value of both metals. But I'm going to give that one to gold also, so we can all see where I'm going here with this one. But then also taking another aspect into account, I could easily say transportation. Right now, transportation and storage, but mainly transportation, because we all know what it is when it comes to storage. When you're storing, so much mass and small value, whereas high value, small mass, it automatically goes over there. But it's easy when you're buying because the dealer sends to you. And then, when it's time to start shifting transport, I've transported many, kilos, 10 kilos and monster boxes. And then not forgetting the aspect when you want to insure. Both are an issue because just because it's a smaller, lighter package, if you're going to insure gold, it's still a situation that you're going to be in. So transportation of both is straight away goes to ease of use, goes to gold, but then storage also goes to gold. So these are things somebody may not take into account, as they may just be picking it up and plopping it down. This is why storage is a big, massive thing. But then again, how much are you going to be stacking? It could get to the size of your average TV or football or who knows. But those are things that also need to be taken into account. So as I'm going to be wrapping this one up, I'll give the ultimate answer to my question, and that's going to be, in my eyes, gold will always be viewed as number one. That's not going to change. And you won't be seeing somebody winning the Olympics, getting first place, getting a silver medal. I think that's going to be the general mindset. And that's just what it is. So is gold better than silver? I would say yes. For the main reasons, I believe it's more liquid. Gold, silver is more affordable. Affordability, I'd give it to silver. But technically not, because both can be picked up. You could get $18 worth of gold, but it's going to have to be scrap or who knows. Practicality in terms of preserving wealth while we're all using it, I would give once again to gold because it's seen as money. Whereas silver is seen as an industrial metal or dual purpose, and it has so much stigma to it. And even once again, liquidity, gold having more of a worldwide market, I'm edging to gold. Growth and true value, I've said what I said. It was very conspiracy theory-ish, but it's just from what I'm seeing. I see now more people saying this is illegal, it shouldn't be allowed, even from the 2008 crash. The bank should have gone down, but they didn't. They shouldn't have got a bailout, but they did. It's the elite we're talking about. These are the people that are in positions that, some people couldn't even dream about. I don't see it just going wrong tomorrow and then, as I've mentioned, them burying their heads in the sand saying, oh, well, we don't know what's going on. I think they've pre-planned decades and decades in advance, and we're just going to have to wait and see. Once again, all speculation. And then from there, transportation and storage, we all know that goes over here. Everything could change if this shot up in multiplied more than gold could multiply. But anything and everything is possible. But ultimately, I would say right here and for the foreseeable future, gold is better than silver. But I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on that, and as much data that you could provide. So once again, guys, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe, and please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the rebound.